What is happening, guys? It's your boy TC back with another video. So that was a convincing win. The final score, of course, on the night against Vorskla in Ukraine on a very, very cold evening. It ended up being 3-0 to the Arsenal. So, of course, we are through to the knockout stages as group leaders as well, and that makes it 18 games unbeaten, ladies and gentlemen. So fantastic run that we're currently on. And of course, Unai Emery as men management came into play during this game, and we obviously saw a lot of youngsters being fielded. But let's just talk about the starting 11 on the day. So we had Petr Cech in goal, we had Lichtsteiner at right back. I did believe that Lichtsteiner was injured when I did make the match preview, but obviously that wasn't the case. He was able to start the game and also finished the game. With Jenkinson playing at centre back, he did actually have a good performance for once. Rob Holding partnered him in the central defensive roles, with Maitland-Niles at left back as anticipated. El Neni, Guendouzi made the two midfielders. Up top with Willock, Ramsey, as well as Emile Smith Rowe, and we had Edin Nketiah as the lone striker up top. So as mentioned, it was an extremely convincing win for us. I spoke about Unai Emery's man management really in the last video, so that was the preview for this game. And as I said, he's got very, very good pedigree in the competition itself. It has shown over the years where he won the competition 3 times back to back. So on this occasion, it did actually shine through when he actually took the youngsters, of course, knowing that we have a very, very important game coming up on Sunday, and that will be against Tottenham. But he ended up fielding a lot of youngsters, and I do believe one of the only other senior players apart from Aaron Ramsey that have actually travelled with the team was Mkhitaryan. Of course, Petr Cech was in goal as mentioned, and he was the skipper for the day. But apart from that, the squad was purely made out of B-team players, if you want to call them that. And they did certainly perform to the standard that we were expecting, and we got the result that we were expecting as a team. So his man management was absolutely fantastic. Got his tactics right. Of course, no football game is an easy game whatsoever. Each game is extremely important in my opinion, and you never know, you might get a shock result, in particular with the squad that we ended up taking across. But that didn't happen. We end up winning convincingly with a 3-0 score on the day. So of course, as well, another talking point that I'd like to talk about is Emile Smith Rowe. So Smith Rowe got himself on the score sheet yet again in the competition. It was absolutely fantastic in my opinion. Took his goal really, really well, and essentially he was in space. Edin Nketiah bundled the ball into the box. It found Emile Smith Rowe in acres of space, and he managed to sort of lean back and tuck the ball into the back of the net. But apart from that, he was being deployed in a wide position, and when I saw the formation, I was a bit doubtful in terms of him being able to perform in that wide role. But he thrived, and essentially he got himself on the score sheet. He did score twice, and unfortunately the other goal was ruled out due to offside. But apart from that, his performance was absolutely magnificent. So I do believe now Emile Smith Rowe has scored 3 goals in 4 games in all competitions for Arsenal, and that includes the Carabao Cup game against Blackpool. So he's in fine form this season. And as a breakthrough season for a youngster, this doesn't get any better. So of course, hopefully we can see more from him in the near future. But he seems to be developing absolutely well. And yesterday, yet again, was evidence for us to see what kind of player that we may have in the future. And he's comfortable playing either left or right. He's good with both feet. So I can't wait to see what we can actually get out of him as a player in the near future. We'll talk about Joe Willock as well. Joe Willock scored his first senior goal, and he took that magnificently. That goal was absolutely brilliant in my opinion. A lot of people were sort of talking about or mentioning the fact that he had some Henry essence to that finish. Of course, it was a brilliant finish. Bottom corner, keeper had no chance. A fantastic curl to the ball, and he also had a fantastic performance out wide. And again, another player for the future. But my only question really is, or my only query with this huge crop of young players that we do seem to have is, are they going to see any first team action? Do they need to go elsewhere to actually get some first team experience? Of course, with Arsenal at the moment, they are getting the run out during the cup games. But of course, as we get into the latter stages of the competition, I'm sure Unai Emery would want to be deploying his first team players. But for now, the question still remains for me is, Do these players leave the club and go elsewhere? Because they're fantastic talents. Obviously, I don't want to lose them, but you can imagine for a footballer, you want to be playing week in, week out at a good level. And a lot of these guys yesterday proved that they can play at a good level. In particular, Joe Willock, of course. I can't see him breaking into the first team. That's the honest truth. We do have some good players in there at the moment, so it's going to be a difficult task for him to actually break through into the first team to become a starter. But yet again, yesterday, he actually put in a good performance, in my opinion. We also saw a debut from a young man called Medley, and he was playing in the central defensive role. He obviously replaced Rob Holding, and he came on and he looked absolutely magnificent on the ball. Very, very comfortable, good passing, great accuracy with his passing, and he looked absolutely fantastic. So yet another debut for that young man. We had Saka, who also came on, and I do believe he ended up replacing Aaron Ramsey. He was deployed on the left. Tricky little young man, very, very pacey, and he also looked good, and that was his senior debut for the club. So Emery is brave enough to obviously hand these kids debuts. He's obviously aware of what young kids need to be shown or need to gain the experience really within the first team in such a competition, and the conditions that we were playing in weren't the best conditions whatsoever. It was -12 or 13 degrees out there, and it was horrible conditions. It was extremely cold, but once you get on the pitch, you will warm up and you get going. So again, fantastic performance from all the young debutants that we saw yesterday. I want to also mention the fact that Guendouzi, of course, Guendouzi played the 90 minutes, and he shone through like a leader to me yesterday. He was charging, he was sort of taking command of the midfield area. Of course, he was partnered with another older player, if you want to call it that, in the form of El Neni. But amongst those two players, or the players that were on the pitch, outfield players, Guendouzi is the one that shone out to me, as he was taking the responsibility to be the leader. He may be a similar age with the other young players that were playing with him, but he was extremely vital in terms of the vocalness that he was showing and the drive that he was showing, in my opinion. And that's one point really I want to make in terms of what I saw from Guendouzi. Another talking point really would be the fact that Aaron Ramsey, it looks like Aaron Ramsey's been relegated down to the C team, if you want to call it that. He obviously scored the penalty, he got on the score sheet as well, but it doesn't look good for him. Of course, Emery doesn't consider him as part of his plans, hence he ended up playing in this particular game. All the important senior players, if you want to call them that, ended up staying obviously back in London, watching the game in the comfort of their own homes. But Aaron Ramsey certainly doesn't look good for him. I'm a fan of Aaron Ramsey, and the demise really is not great at all. Scored his 60th goal for the club as well by scoring that particular penalty. But hey, we obviously move on. Players do come and go. But as usual, guys, please do let me know what you think in the comments below. If you're watching this video and you're not subscribed to the channel, please do make sure that you do hit that subscribe button. So once again, guys, it's your boy TC from I'm Gonna Talk TV, and I'm out.